to Mark.
Thank you.
In your embassy. And we are, as in part one, going to talk about your work and your life and your vision on life on 14 propositions. The magic number for us Dutch people, especially footballing Dutch people. So I would like to start directly with number one. It is the if proposition. Are you spontaneous or very careful or on your guard?
I would say I try to be spontaneous. I am perceived as on guard, but I notice I make decisions often, well, maybe based on experience, but mostly on what my gut feelings tells me.
Is it in the position you have, as football coaches have, your speeches on the outside? You have to be very careful about what you say and how you say it?
Well, of course, words matter, but people immediately notice when you speak just reading out a paper or when you speak from the heart. That is much more effective and much more, you communicate much better. The message comes across. So I always try to internalize something and really speak about what I feel about it and not just what I come up with by rationalizing something.
Can you say, because every now and then I do courses for other coaches and I try to guide some amateur coaches. What I always say is you mustn't be the example, you have to live the role of the example. Is that what you mean?
That's what I mean. If you don't guide, show the way yourself, then immediately people notice it's artificial. So I agree with that, and it's not always easy, of course, right? Everyone has sometimes moments where you think, well, this is what I have to say, but I really feel something else. But as years go by, I try to get that combined more and more to whatever you feel is also what you say, rather than just performing some kind of show.
And then it gets to be a pretty easy task, speaking in public. Huh?
Well, it's what I really like is the interaction, right? So to keep it short, I noticed the shorter, I have to be at panel discussions, at openings, at all kinds of public functions. That's part of my role. But I noticed the shorter the speech, the more reactions I get, right? A short and powerful speech, whether it's just 1 or 2 minutes, is much better than a very long speech. And it also helps you to stand out. Here in Indonesia, they are very respectful to hierarchy. So when Indonesians start a speech, they start with first mentioning all the VIPs that are present by name and by function. And that can take sometimes 10 minutes before they come to the actual speech. I try to, well, with all due respect, to skip that. Saying, well, distinguished guests, and sometimes I name one specific guest if he or she is the host, for instance, and then the president, and then get right to the point. Again, this you shouldn't overdo it to not become too blunt and too Dutch and direct. But if you keep it short, then there's more space for interaction, and that is, of course, what is the best.
Yeah, I always feel when I talk in public about the game we played, or about the team, or even about a specific individual player, everything you say in public, you also say to your staff members and your players. So I don't need to be careful. I just say the same as I say in the dressing room. And it's also because I know that all players on the internet will follow everything that is being said about the team and about them and about the coach and about the other staff members. So I always send the same message, and maybe with different words, because I have to take care of privacy, etc., etc. But it is the same message. So I actually have an extra moment and an extra minute or 2 minutes to talk to my staff members and my players.
Yeah, consistency and predictability really, really important to know to make clear what you intend, and always do like a check, right? Are you on the same page? Is this what you also feel like the best way forward? Yeah. If you don't get that, and this is something here also, right? People are sometimes too polite to ask questions, or too polite to give feedback. So that is a challenge for us as diplomats, and then as ambassador even more so. People will never tell you, well, that what you did there really was not a good idea. Crap. I wish people would do that, but I understand they don't. I mean, they find it probably there's too much of a bridge. So trying to bridge that from our side. I mean, there's too much of a gap. I mean, and for me to bridge that gap is that's my, I would say, personal assignment every day to really get connect to people and get their genuine answers and questions.
Yeah. Okay, number 2 is in the line of number 1. Are you impulsive or thoughtfully?
Yeah, it's quite in the same. I would say I'm impulsive, although people regard me as a thoughtful person. I think with experience, but also with the right values as the basis, you can be impulsive, because that's you can.
Also because you live that role you have.
Yeah, I think so.
This is what I feel.
Yeah,
I think I'm spontaneous, but I can react instantly because I've had all the problems and questions during my career. So I have the solution and the answer instantly.
Yeah, and you have to. I really like my job. I am really lucky to be in this job. It gives a lot of energy, and I get to come to places and get to meet wonderful people. So I really call myself very lucky every day. And from that basis, it's really nice, to just do my job, represent the Netherlands here. And I noticed that if you do that spontaneously, especially in a country like Indonesia, where people are very open-minded, very much communicative, and love the interaction, then you get so much extra from it. So it's being impulsive and spontaneous leads to much better results, and it's fun and results driven, rather than holding back, being careful, trying to avoid difficult situations. Now, if you're going at it right away with a positive attitude, that is really wonderful.
Number 3, what is more important, physical or mental health?
That's a good one. I would say mental health. I think you can enjoy life even though you have physical difficulties. But enjoying life while suffering from mental difficulties is much more difficult. So I think mental health is most important.
I totally agree. I often ask this coaches, and it's about them, but also about the players they lead. And we, in 9 out of 10 cases, come to the same conclusion. To perform at your best, you have to be without sorrows. You know what to do, and you feel free to make mistakes. And if you're on the edge of making mistakes, then you do brilliant things. You, during your career as a coach, but also as a player, you find out where the edge is. And if you don't dare, you will always be average or under average. And this has also to do with very mental health or freedom. Number 4, just do what is being asked from you, or asking why.
Yeah, of course, asking why.
You are Dutch, huh?
Very much so. And also, I think we can be proud of that and of our education in the Netherlands, that we learn to ask why. Of course, sometimes we overdo a little bit, but I think that question
a little bit
is not asked often enough in many other countries. If you stimulate people to ask why, to question what you do, it leads to better understanding, better teamwork, better sense of where you're going. So a very important aspect of, I would say, teamwork. And whether it's in sports or in diplomacy or in politics or in the economic sector, if you all understand why you do something, you reach your goal much quicker.
The last sentence is so important to get people to develop. You cannot always get the answer, and especially during games, football games, there is no time to ask why, so you have to just act. But the why question is actually the most important question in life. Why are we alive anyway? Number 5. It's a tough one. Indonesia or the Netherlands?
Well, it can be a tough one, but I will say the Netherlands. I am, thanks to working for the Netherlands all over the world, I get to do what I like, and I get to represent the Netherlands, which is a big honor. So for me, in the end, it's the Netherlands that comes first.
You are Dutch, huh? Number 7, what is football? Hobby or a profession?
A hobby for me. It's it's a hobby for many people, and if you look at it, I mean, you work in football professionally. Of course, I don't. But if you take football as a metaphor, I think we all can learn from the way teams perform, from the way football is uniting people, and especially here in Indonesia, football can really make a big difference. So within our embassy, for instance, we are developing a program we call football diplomacy. With help of the KNVB, the Dutch Football Association, but also with organizations here in Indonesia. We stimulate that coaches are being trained to be better coaches, so that they can all over the country help communities or young people to reach their goals about teamwork, about leadership, girls playing football, but also learning to respect themselves and take their fate in their own hands. So through football, so much is possible. So we really value that and try to do more of that in our diplomatic world, again with lots of different partners.
Number 8, is your vacation organized from door to door, or do you go on the Bonnefoy? I didn't know how to translate Bonnefoy, but it's...
Yeah, I would no. Our vacations are usually a bit unplanned and unplanned. So on the Bonnefoy or whatever you want to call it. So we never take a package deal or anything like that. We see where we go, and we try to enjoy, and of course make sure all family members get what they like to relax and to have a good time, but it's usually quite different. They look, my children and my wife sometimes look at me to organize it a little bit, and I am in that sense a sloppy organizer. So
really, but is that also your type of character?
Maybe not, but it's maybe a contrast from who I am in work, right? And in private life, I sometimes, at least my children call me very clumsy, and I sometimes forget to make a train reservation or whatever, and they start laughing. At the first, they didn't. They thought, "What is going on?" And at some point, they got used to the fact that. That sometimes things go not as well as smoothly as planned, but they have learned to to go with the flow and appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm too much organized, and I like a holiday or a vacation or a trip or whatever of this work to be very organized. But if I don't work, and as a coach, you actually work 24/7 because in your head you're always thinking about situations or tactics or whatever that can bring you further. But if you're not in that mental situation, I always hope that other people take over, and I don't want to take charge in at what time does the bus or the taxi leave, or where are we going to eat, or whatever, or even what type of dinner do we choose. If you say, okay, we take satay or we take steak or whatever, then I say, okay, I'll just have the same.
Yeah, it's all about having an open mind or an open vizier.
Yeah. Okay, number 9. Is death the end or the beginning?
The end.
The end. Okay. It's not very religious.
I define religion as living here and now, and respecting nature and humanity. So you have to live life to the fullest now. And of course, you can think about all kinds of things that might be there after life, but I tend to think that is not so much wasted energy, but it's something that is not why we live life. It's not about preparing for life after death. I would say living life is about now and making the best of it for others, for the world, and in the end also for yourself.
There's another question that pops to my mind, and that is that if you're not being brought up with a certain religion, and even being atheist, is love, is that also a religion?
Yeah,
could it be a religion?
Yeah, of course.
Being lovingly and respectful towards others.
That's it. And of course, death is part of life, and you can love and be respectful of people who have died. I think that's a very important part of life, right? Your grandparents or your parents or others you love